So it's bandwagon season. So Adam Schein of the and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I think it's Schein because he does the Schein at 9. Adam Schein is an NFL.com columnist, and he puts his 9 because he does his 9. I don't know what the deal is with him, whatever like that. But NFL bandwagons to hop on. These are teams, coaches, players, things like that, right? So he talks about, these are the teams and the players and the coaches, things like that, that everybody should be jumping on their particular bandwagon, right? Okay. So here's who's number 1 on this list. And that is, quote, the Atlanta Falcons. Quote, I think this is the NFL's sleeper squad in 2023. While I named the rival Saints my Cinderella team after signing Derek Carr, I believe both NFC South teams can win 10-plus games this year. He goes on to say, first of all, I'm a big fan of Arthur Smith. Despite going 7-10 his first 2 seasons in the big chair, Smith is a fabulous coach. The third year will indeed be the charm, given the growth and upgrading of the roster. Second-year quarterback Desmond Ridder has a true chance to be solid under Smith's watchful eye, especially with the NFL experience gained since his third-round selection in 2022. And then he goes on to talk about, quote from Desmond Ridder and, talking about the roster, Robinson, London, Patterson, Pitts, all this good kind of stuff. Upgrading the defense, Calais Campbell, David Onyemata, Bud Dupree, Caden Ellis, Jesse Bates, things like that. And he ends it with this, quote, in an NFC South that's in flux, the Falcons are poised to rise up. So are the Falcons the bandwagon team, the Cinderella team, Cinderella story out of nowhere, right? Are they that Cinderella team? I guess. I mean, again, we've talked about their ceiling and their floor. I don't think that there's any reason to think that at the very bottom they would find themselves 7 or 8 wins. I don't think they're a worse team than 7 or 8 wins. And I think the ceiling for them is that 10-11 range window, right? Again, I don't think they're 12-5, 13-4. Like, I don't think they're that kind of team this year. Could they be? Yeah, sure. I mean, it's the NFL. You're playing a last place schedule. Anything can happen to it. But it is interesting that we're seeing more of these national media folks that are coming around. It seems like that there's not a lot of middle ground when it comes to the national media. Either they're 100% on board with the Falcons and what they can do, or they look at them as the worst team in the NFL, right? Like there's no kind of happy medium about, well, they could be 9-8 and win the South and all that kind of. No, it's either they're winning the division as a double-digit win team, or they're still going to be a 6-7 win team. But it is interesting that there are national media folks that look at the Falcons and the way they've built this roster, that they have certainly upgraded. So that's a good sign that people are catching on to the idea of that we haven't just made token moves to try to help build the roster. We've definitely made some upgrades, right? And all the players that he mentioned, Onyemata, Calais Campbell, they're all upgrades over guys that we've had over the last couple of years. And we were able to sign some of our own guys, right? McGarry, first and foremost, extending Lindstrom, bringing back a Lorenzo Carter. I mean, guys like that. I mean, they may not be major players for the Lorenzo Carter case, but still, those are guys that can contribute to your roster and guys that when you bring them back, they know the system, they know the defensive system. And even though it's a new, going to be some new schemes and things like that with Ryan Nielsen, they certainly have the familiarity with the organization. So look, all good in Falcons land. Are the Falcons the bandwagon, team to jump on? Hopefully. I would love to see that the Falcons become that bandwagon team that everybody gravitates to. I expect that we'll see more of these kinds of columns from NFL people. And if they believe, it all come down to this. Do those nudniks believe in Desmond Ridder that he can get them to 9, 10, 11 wins, or do they think that he's a below average quarterback? Pro Football Focus has been kind of harsh about Desmond Ridder. They ranked him 31st. We talked about this earlier in the week. Ranked him 31st. They don't see any real upside to him. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. And if he finishes 31st in the NFL in QB rankings, then we probably won't be a 10 or 11 win team. I don't think he can be that low and we still have success. Now, again, he doesn't have to be 1, 2, 3. He doesn't have to be the MVP of the league, but he's got to be competent. But with all of the offensive weapons, look, this will be the key, as I keep saying, and I'll go over and over and over it and pound it into your head. If we can be an elite red zone offense, be an offense in the red zone that's 67% or better, touchdown ratio, 67%, 2/3 of the time when we're in the red zone, we score touchdowns, then we'll be a really good offense. There's no excuse for it. Not with Pitts and Jonnu Smith and Robinson and Algier and all the guys, London, everybody we got. So, look, maybe the Falcons are that sexy team. Their win total from Vegas doesn't say that they're a sexy team. I think their win total is 8.5 this year. So that's not a very high number. But given the recent history of the Atlanta Falcons, that's certainly an improvement from the 4.5 that we had last year. So, listen, jump on the bandwagon. A lot of us are on there already. Hop on the bandwagon. I definitely think that this squad will be better. I definitely think we can win the NFC South. I'm not guaranteeing it, but I certainly think that we won't finish worse than above 500, which 9-8 always gives you a shot, right? Start with 9-8 and then see what happens from there. So if you want to come on the bandwagon, come join us on the bandwagon. All right, after you make Hittin Hard with John Chuckery, your first listen, make sure you go in and leave us a comment that you are an everyday listener to the program. We like to call them our everydayers. And so leave us a comment on whatever podcast platform that you listen on and let us know that you're an everydayer listening in 5 days a week. We thank you so much for being a part of our ever-growing community and being with us for this last year plus.